Okay, so now here we are. Last thing we did was import the files into the library. So we have background. We can actually preview them if we click on them. So the background PNG, photo 1, photo 2, photo 3. We can kind of get a preview within the library panel of what that looks like. So we have all those in there. Next, we want to add an item from the library panel to the stage. So what we're going to do first, we're going to actually bring in this background. And I think they say that you can just grab it and drag it into your stage from the library panel. Super easy. You can also do like a file import to stage if you want, I guess. But if you want to do it from the library, you just grab it up here. I guess if I wanted to bring in photo 3, I could, click on that and then grab it up here and then bring it in, but I'm not going to do that since the book didn't ask for that. Now we're going to talk about the timeline panel, which is this area right here. It's located below the stage, obviously. It contains playback controls for your animation. It displays the sequence of events in the animation, basically starting from left 1 second, 5 seconds, 10 seconds to right. Or maybe these are 5. This is the 5 second. This is the 4 second. 3, 2, 1. So, and then these are like fractions of a second. So basically the timeline goes from, 0 to whenever. I'm not quite sure how long this is. It probably defaults to something. Something that the book obviously will walk us through. Nothing to worry about too much. So yeah, let's see, where was I? So in Animate movies, measure time in frames. As the movie plays, the playhead, shown as a blue vertical line, advances through the frame shown on the timeline. So I think that kind of possibly means this thing here. It's red right now. So you can change the content on the stage for different frames. To display a frame's content on the stage for any particular time, move the playhead to that frame in the timeline. There's also kind of a layers area. Not so much unlike, working with Photoshop. Right now, obviously, this background image, PNG file that we brought in to the stage is on layer 1. So we're in layer 1 right now. If we need to create more layers, probably just click this new layer button. So that's a quick rundown of the layer area. So it's always a good idea to separate your content onto different layers and then name each layer to indicate its contents so that you can easily find the layer you need later. So we actually, since I did bring in this and we are working in layer 1 and it's the background, I'm just going to go ahead and double click and label this background. Yep, so that's how we just click outside of that to apply that name. We can also lock it. And this will prevent you from accidentally moving or making changes to that layer. So we can click lock, so you can see that's locked. If we need to unlock it, we just click it again. So there's that. So we're going to actually add a layer. We want to make sure that we do have this clicked so that is highlighted. And we can you can do insert timeline layer if you want to. I think you can also just push this new layer button if you want. Either way. So we're just going to double click, name this photo 1 like the book told us to, click outside of that to apply the name. So now our timeline has 2 layers. This one actually contains, if we turn the eyeball off on that, it contains that background image, background.png image. We haven't brought anything into this yet, but we will go to the library panel and then drag in photo 1 onto this layer. So we're going to go here and then we will click on that little thumbnail and drag that in. And make sure you're on that photo 1 layer when you do that. So if I turn that off, if I toggle that eyeball, kind of like in Photoshop, we can see that that's on its own layer. We're just going to kind of repeat that process. We're going to create a new layer, rename it, double click on it, photo 2, click outside, go to the photo 2, make sure we're on that layer when we drag this in, drag that in. We're not putting these in any particular order right now. So yeah, we got all of those things positioned. So we have 3 layers now. So far now we have a background photo and then other overlapping photos, 3 layers. But we only have, I believe we only have 1 frame. So these are the frames, like I said, and then these are the 2 seconds. I think we might be doing 48 frames per second here, or maybe 12, whatever half of 48 is. So 22 or 24 frames per second is what we're doing. Because you can see there's 1 second and that's right on the 48th frame. So we want to go to, we can always resize this. We can zoom in on the frames. So here's 5 frames, 10 frames, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I'm going to just scroll over. I need to find the 48th frame, which is right at 2 seconds. 45, 46, 47, 48. So, and we want to select that on the background layer. So here we might go to Insert, Timeline, Frame. So basically on the background layer we have 48 frames established, 2 seconds worth of content on the background layer. Okay, so once we do that to the background layer, we also want to do that to the photo 1 layer. And I do believe we want to do it to the other layer as well. So photo 1 and photo 2. So click here like we did before. We're adding that end frame on 2 seconds. And then we went to Insert Timeline Frame the first time. So we did the same thing again. But I think you can also do a right click and then an insert frame. So there's a couple different ways to do it. The right clicking might be a little bit faster. I did a control click with my MacBook Pro because I have a trackpad and I don't have a mouse. So to get that right click, sometimes you have to do a control click on a Mac, but that's just for Mac. So now we have 3 layers. Each of the 3 layers have 48 frames, which is 2 seconds on the timeline established so far. So the book kind of goes on to talk about keyframes. A keyframe indicates a change in the content on the stage. Keyframes are indicated on the timeline as a circle. An empty circle means there's nothing in particular in that layer at that particular time. A filled in black circle means there's something in that layer at that time. So some of this we can see there's some keyframes here. So kind of talks about that. You might want to read over creating a keyframe section, but we'll be inserting a keyframe in the layer 2, photo 2 layer. In the point in time when you actually want the next photo to appear. So we'll select frame 24 on the photo 2 layer. So let's see, frame 24. So I might zoom in a little bit more. It's kind of hard to see the frames right now, but 21, 22, 23, 24, we don't want to be on 40. So basically right there. Make sure that that's kind of highlighted in blue. So I've got that highlighted. So I think I'm actually in frame 23 because if you look over here, you'll see that it is your current frame number. So I got to move it over one more because I'm supposed to be on frame number 24. So we can do insert timeline keyframe. So we got a keyframe there, circle, an empty circle. So that's in photo 2 layer in frame 24, basically. So when I went through this, I accidentally added the photo 2 to the photo 2 layer. I wasn't supposed to do that. So if I click on photo 2, where the whole layer is selected, and then grab this, like actually click on the photo 2, and then I can just delete this. And then I'll go back to this frame 24, and then this is where we can add in the photo 2, like so. There we go. So if I drag this back, you can see I still have it in there. I didn't want that. You can see where I dragged it in here. So I actually want to select all of this. So Shift, select all of this, and delete it. So this should be totally empty, which will come out as a darker gray color up until frame 24, where we added in photo 2. So we can actually grab this playhead if we want. Oops. Or we can push play, and it can play through, let's see, let's start from the beginning. Play through what we have, and obviously it doesn't come through. This will go all the way to the beginning. As you can see, these two images, the background and photo 1, are always on the stage throughout the whole thing. And around frame 24, this image pops in. So if I start it over, you can see it comes in at frame 24, which is a second into the video. It's a 2-second video. So that's what it should look like so far. And we can see that the photo 2 layer, which is the layer that has this yellow building kind of, you can see there's an empty keyframe here. And then at frame 24, it has a filled keyframe with an action in it where the photo actually comes in to that layer. Now we're going to actually try and move this from frame 24 to frame 12. I'm not sure. Okay, so if we grab this keyframe and just move it over, I think I can just try to bring it over to maybe 15, and then I'll scroll over and find 12, which I think this is 11, so this would be 12. So I can grab that. 14, 13, 12 I think would be right here. And then it tells us right here what frame we're in. So that's how you would move a keyframe around. And now if we were to start from the beginning by clicking this button and push play, we can see that that photo comes in a lot earlier in the animation, frame 12 instead of frame 24.